Hello buddy, welcome back to exploring the Black Country St Midlands outdoors here. Wow, beautiful morning. I thought I'm going to go for a nice little bike ride once more across the Birmingham Canal to Smethwick. We haven't covered Smethwick to Birmingham yet, which is what I'm going to be doing today. Let's see how far we can go. It's going to be a nice little visit just onto the section here, which is Gorton Junction. Completely closed off right the way down the bottom. I think they are redoing all the paths down here, so it's going to be nice when I've done all that. Nice cycle paths to go all the way down. Let's go and head to Smethwick and go and check out some history down there. Here we are on the canal now, what goes all the way to Smethwick. So I just travelled quite a bit to get from Netherton Tunnel on that canal line all the way down to here. So it does go pretty far. There is lots of histories, old foundries that used to be across the canal side down here. You've got Gorton Bridge, which I've covered before, just coming right the way up in front in a little bit. But it's a really nice canal. This is actually one of my favourites to always come down. I just love it. You used to see a wildlife just coming all the way down to here in the sides covered by trees. And Gorton Valley is an artificial construction. It was actually surveyed by Telford, as you may have known in other videos, and that's actually why there's an artificial valley. So at one point the ground would have been higher to one point than what it was. So here we are. I can just show you one more time the Gorton Tunnel and the big Gorton Bridge what goes all the way across. But it is amazing to see the architecture and design cast by the Horsley Ironworks many years ago. You just imagine how old these bridges are all together, and with the Gorton Valley just all the way behind. Really nice section to the canal line on the way to Smethwick. But I do love to see this architecture with the big steel bridge in front, the Gorton Bridge. It does say on the side, cast at the Horsley Ironworks, just right out there. There we go, one close look at the Gorton Bridge one more time. So I thought this was a great opportunity to show you a bit more closer than what I have done before. As you can just see, the steel architecture. I will go over the history one more time of this place. But it is really cool to see even the architecture of the side of the walls up to there. I am going to go up there at some point because I'm going to get the train down to here. So I might show you from the top in the future. But heading to the corner, you might not see it from here. But I see Horsley Ironworks, 18 something, very faint and small into the corner. And there's the Smethwick Station Bridge where the train goes all the way across up to there. Let's go and check out the history one more time and I will just tell you about it. So here we are, the Gorton Bridge on the Revolution Walk. So like I was mentioning how you got the surveys by Thomas Telford. 1757 to 1834, the great engineer. And both were remarkable engineering achievements for their day. The work was carried out over a 2-year period by hundreds of labourers using hand-oiled tools and enormous expense. Telford justified the cost by saying, where business is extensive, liberal expenditure of this kind is true economy. So the valley is artificial. To get the canal over the Smeaton summit without using the locks, Telford cut a trench 3.66 kilometres, 2.2 miles long, and 21 metres, 70 feet. There's an old photo of the old days on the BCN new main line, just right there. It's really cool to see the horses, the boat just loading right away across. Just imagine what it looked like back then, no trees. As all the trees are covered over the artificial valley at the moment, all up to there. That was the old days, and that was actually when the trees were starting to be planted. Got an old bridge onto that corner, so I'm guessing that could be that one, but remodernised. But really cool. And that's actually Telford's light iron bridge, and small stone abutments created less pressure on the embankment below. So there we go. Thought I might show you that one more time. And if you did know, this is actually grade 1 listed. The bridge was still used for road traffic until 1975. Here we are through the Gorton Tunnel. So as you may remember off my other episode, I came through here. It is a bit of a bizarre tunnel the way they've constructed it, because it is all modern, but it's like very tall up. You'd imagine some of the tunnels in Birmingham, we have got lighting, and there is one that I'm covering coming up soon, nearly. The Edgbaston section in Birmingham, the canal that runs from there, the Birmingham Worcester Canal, is really lovely. You've got all the lights lit up in the tunnel, and there is a bit of history down there, so we'll go and check it out when we can. But just right away in front, it is a bit of a distance, so I can just see it zooming right away in, but where we're heading is carrying all the way straight on and into Smethwick itself. But I can just see the Gorton Valley pumping station right away in front. And that is really old, the Gorton Valley pumping station. As you may know, there is lots of history behind that, and I did cover some before. But this is also part of the artificial section on the canal line. As you can see, old brick walls on the corner, just overgrown by all that. So imagine there could have been something here many years ago. As you can just see, old brick wall. You do see quite a lot of old remains down Smethwick, where old foundries actually used to be. I will show you when I get down to there. But this is so cool, seeing the old walls. And just a bit here, you can just see this, all coming apart, another old wall. Really cool. So let's go down to the bottom and let's have one more look from the side of the Gorton Valley pumping station. So right, this is it one more time. This is the Gorton Valley pumping station. Very, very old. You can just tell by the brick architecture on the walls and the way it's designed. Wow. I just really do love old buildings like this, and it does tell a bit of a black country story. I mean, when this was dated back far, far ago, imagine all the industry down here, across the canal, boats loading up onto the corners, and then you've got this. Really cool. There is tunnels. Just panning right the way through, you can just see a tunnel, just right into there. Really cool. I don't know whether it goes straight up, but you can just hear water drops. It does go really, really far behind. I mean, you can't get into there, it's got a lock onto it. But I'm guessing this used to be open at one point. But really cool into there, look how old the walls are. Really cool tunnel. So basically, covering history once more, the Gorton Valley Canal Museum, which is actually a museum, you can go around it at a certain time of year, I believe, so just keep your eyes open on the internet. There is a phone number. I'll drop the phone number into the description for you, and I'll drop the website so you can go and check them out. So it says there, housed here in New Smethwick Pumping Station, the Canal Museum explores the history of the Gorton Valley Canal and the people who designed and built and worked on it. Built in 1892, I thought it was 18th century because you can tell by the construction and the type of brick what they've used. There is some patterns up there, I will show you in a bit. So the pumping station was designed to pump water from the lower level to the higher canal to maintain the water levels. So that's basically what that's for, is to maintain water from each section of the canal. Got the old line just right at the top, and you've got the new line which we're on right now. But showing you the architecture, if I just quickly check out up there, you might be able to see it. Some like slight patterns just onto the corner of those like slight bricks onto there. But wow, it's just really nice to see that. And I just really do love the old black country buildings. I bet many of you do as well. But wow, let's go on further down and we'll tell you a bit more history as we get further down the canal line. So right, that was really interesting seeing that one more time. I just really do want to go in there to check it out, so I'm going to keep my eyes open myself to see if it is open sometime. But this is really old, this bridge here, and I'm guessing this could be 1800s. This is a really old road bridge, I'm guessing, right away at the top. And the wall at the back, you can just see a bigger wall that's stretching all the way across. So you can just see here, Smethwick town centre is 14 minutes by foot. Heading up that way to the old line, and then a junction what goes all the way off. Let's go and see what it says on these sides. Got Gorton Bridge 10 minutes away. Birmingham city centre straight in front, and you've got the Engine Arm Aqueduct, and that's actually where we're heading to, is those two signs. Might see if I can get a bit towards Birmingham, but I'm not going to go right the way into it. Well, just see how far we can go today, because I have travelled a bit of distance. But wow, the other side of this old bridge right away at the top. Pretty cool. It's so old. Well, I'll get some pictures on the way back. But yes, go and journey on. So right, this is one of my favourite sections to the canal line. Just right there, you can hear all the water flowing all the way down. Let's go and take a closer look to it. Wow, that's amazing to see that. It's trickling all the way down to the new section down into here. It's like a bit of an overflow to it. But wow, that is really cool to see that right out there. So that was cool, seeing that water flowing all the way down. But coming down, there is evidence of where old factories would have been many years ago. Old brick walls over there. Just seeing something down the bottom where boats would have moored up many years ago. And just coming right the way around is a really nice, cool architectural feature. This is another bridge, but it's so low. Let's go and get a bit closer to it. I can imagine this has got a bit of history to it by looking at the architecture and the way it's been designed. I mean, usually they do say what company they're being made by, right about the top, but I'm guessing, having a slight guess of this, it's got to be 1800s, this bridge. Wow, just seeing the architectural features. This is the first time I've been down here for quite a while, second time actually to see this. But how low that is really crazy. You would think it would be higher than this. And if I just come a bit further around, there is a nice architectural feature on that bit of brick up to there. Some patterns onto there, so I'm guessing whoever made this, it's got to be from the 1800s and from a certain company. If you want to drop it in the comments, feel free to. I will be interested to know. But panning all the way down, that's where we're heading, straight across, right away down the bottom, bearing one moment, all the way down there. So you can just see more evidence of industry. Just right here is where barges would have gone from one section. So this would have split off the barges. One would have gone one way, barge would have come this way. And I think a barge would have gone in the middle by the looks of it. Just right there. So it's a bit of a bizarre one, this. And there is some stuff up to the top up to here. It's an information board, so we'll go and check it out. Only a short cycle up to the top. So right, we've got Thomas Telford here. It's a picture of him now. I did see him when I went to Bridge North. He actually constructed a church there. Thomas Telford, 9th of August 1757 to the 2nd of September 1834. So I was checking that out when I come down. That is actually known as the Engine Arm Aqueduct on the Revolution Walk once more. The elegant iron structure to your right is the Engine Arm Aqueduct. Also, that's what that bridge is right away down there. So that's what we're looking at. And there's a better photo. Engine Arm Aqueduct crossing the new mainline canal. Pictures from a drone. Nice photo there. And this is a very old one. Oh right, so I told you I was right, because you can just see this here. There was a building on there many years ago. Just right away there, what I can just see. So there's been a big building onto here. And that's actually the gorging station in 1913. So that's why I said there was like a middle bit coming down what went right way in, so that would have led into the building what was on here many years ago. That is so cool seeing that. So if you can just see it, there you go, more evidence of industry being onto here. So checking out this bit here, the elegant iron structure to your right is the Engine Arm Aqueduct, built by Thomas Telford. I told you it was built by somebody with nice architecture, because the features on that bridge are really cool. There was patterns right away at the top, and it is sort of similar to the other one, the big one, where was it, Gorton Valley, the big Gorton Bridge right away at the top. Pan right away around once more. So that was actually in the 19th century engineering innovation. Behind the elegant Gothic arches is an iron supported on an arch of iron lattice work. Telford pioneered the use of cast iron to replace wood or stone, allowing bridges and aqueducts to straddle much greater widths. The iron elements were cast at the Horsey Iron Works. There we go, I thought it was actually cast at the Horsey Iron Works. So most of the bridges on the Birmingham Canal are from the Horsey Iron Works then, so that does make sense. Right, back round, and it says there near Tipton, which manufactured many of the bridges around the Birmingham Canal. Navigations, or BCN. The Engine Arm Aqueduct was built in 1825. Wow, that is dating far back a bit, and is now a scheduled ancient monument and Grade 2 listed building. So Telford further developed his use of iron in his later projects, but this was rumoured to be his favourite aqueduct. So he actually built quite a lot of things, churches, bridges. He had quite a lot of things to do within the area. So the iron through the water is supported on 5 cast iron ribs, each made of 4 sections, 1969. Wow. So the gorging station, which was here many years ago, I might see if I can find some information online about this gorging station. There might be more pictures of it. So the photo of Gent right the way there shows the gorging station rising from the canal island. The station was demolished in the 1940s, but the island remains today. Here, canal officials could accurately measure the distance between the top of a boat and the waterline as it was filled with weights. So I'm thinking this was actually sort of similar to the tollman's office, which is by me, as you may have seen in the other Exploring the Black Country videos. That tollman's office was where they weighed boats by their load, and that is there for people to see today. So if you are interested, go and check it out on the number 2 canal line, the extension line. But wow, I didn't actually know that. This information was helped to toll keepers to calculate how much each boat had to pay as it passed along the canal. So that's basically another tollman's office right away here. So I've learned pretty much really quite a lot today, really. And there is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, an abandoned factory right at the top. I would love to show you that. There is a way to get inside it, but that is really old. That's been there for many years. But there's a way somewhere around the back to get to that. So I did miss this. The Engine Arm, a culvert, fed water from the Edgbaston Reservoir towards Smethwick Summit using gravity. For the last few hundred metres it became a short feeder canal called the Engine Arm, which is then carried by the aqueduct above Telford's new canal to top up the high section of the old canal. That old photo there, so I can just see there was an old factory there many years ago. I think it's been demolished somewhere down the bottom, or it could have been somewhere down here. Can just see some really old factories. They look abandoned on that side once more. If I zoom in right away in, a row of abandoned factories along with the main abandoned one on the corner, right away there. So that's a big abandoned factory in there. Wow, really cool to see this stuff. It is really interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna check out behind me because there is something really interesting. So right, one quick peek up. This is actually another cool one. This is actually the BCN old line right away at the top. So you can just see it's sort of closer to the new line, which is right away at the bottom. Got an old bridge right away down there. And it's cool, that one is. And I've got this. So this is also another little office to something many years ago. What could that have been? Could that have actually been another weighing office for this old line, similar to what would have been down onto the bottom? Possibly could have been. And some more old bridges right away there, and you've got the Engine Arm Aqueduct onto that corner. That actually leads round to this corner down to there. So right, so you will see the Engine Arm Aqueduct a bit better now from the very top of it. So I have no idea for where it even leads to, or for what it goes over the top. I think there is like a little canal section leading over the top of it. Oh wow. So this actually gives you a better feature of the canal line itself. There's the Engine Arm Aqueduct right the way there. Some really cool patterns into that bridge what leads right away over the top, the walkway bridge. Wow. So right, there you go, the Engine Arm Aqueduct, and if I just come a bit more over, just right away there, the architectural features. But let's go and check out the factory, which is right away at the top. So it would be interesting to see what this was on the right, or this derelict factory section. It goes really far, so I'm guessing it could have been some sort of like little ironworks maybe. That is really old. I think is some parts of it actually still being used. I know some parts of it are derelicts, like onto that corner. As you can just see there, all the buildings have collapsed in some certain angles, boarded up windows, so I think part of it could be used and some of it's abandoned. Really cool, but that's nice seeing that, and now you've got all that up there. So really cool to see the derelict sidings of the factory. So unfortunately you can't get in the factory no more. I've just noticed they've actually put the barriers back up. I knew someone who got into there and told me to come and check it out, but there's no way over to it no more. It's a pretty shame. There was some stuff in there, old machines. That is actually the abandoned factory right away in front. You see how old it is from the corners. So yeah, this was the way in many years ago. You see they've just freshly gated it all the way up. And there's the factory. I don't know if you'll be able to see it right the way there. Excuse the wind, but you just see right away into it. If I just come round the back, you can just see more bits of the canal line right away up here. So where does this even go to? Because I've never been down this canal section. Does it rejoin back up somewhere? Really interesting. I might actually come down here one time. It's actually a really interesting section. But wow, it's a shame about that we can't go and show it yet. Would have been cool to see inside there. So yeah, you can just see a bit more of this derelict factory down the bottom. So there was another way into it there. That's been freshly boarded up. But it just looks so old. I mean, even looking at it, it's like half the metal on the sides missing. That bit's coming right away out the wall. Yeah, I might actually come down here. I'm gonna do a video of this and see how far this one goes within the future. But let's get back onto the other canal section and go and check out the other bits what I'm down there. So that was so cool, seeing all that abandoned section down there. I never even knew there was a canal down on that section right away at the top. So we'll go and check out that in a future video, see how far it really does go. See more really old factories going further down. But just on the side of it, that's actually where it was. Wind's really picking up, it's gone really old at the moment. So let's go further down, I'll get a bit more cinematics for you. So right, you can just see some really old industry and old factory on this side, stretching all the way further down, got some new sections to it. But right away at the top is something really interesting. So that you see in a little bit. That is a very old fashioned telegraph pole. I noticed that the last time I ever come down. That is actually the only one that's remaining on the canal line. You see part of it's actually fell down off the top. Most of the old telegraph poles used to have like different sections that leading all the way down. But that is really so cool to see that. So that may have led some wires into a factory many years ago. But really cool to see that. I have mentioned some of them old telegraph poles before on my channel, so you may have seen me talk about them. Especially in the Ways the Hills videos, what I've done. You would have seen an old one like that, a good example of one. So right, this is Smethwick Junction, still on the Revolution Walk. Some pictures here, you can just see the horses walking on the side, towing the boat right away across. That is a really cool old photo, that is. And that was actually in 1957. So there, 1957, showing a horse pulling an empty day boat. Old factories would have been on there many years ago, because you can just see evidence of factories where the canal would have gone right away in to a loading wharf for a factory right underneath that bridge. You'd have had some more factories right around the back over to there. Really cool seeing where all the industry would have been back in the days. So here, two ingenious sections to the same problem. It is not unusual to see the canals linking up, but these two canals both connect Wolverhampton to Birmingham, so why build two of them? The answer is simple. 60 years passed between the opening of the two canals. In that time, the science of engineering had advanced and the canal transport had grown enormously. The ingenious route, surveyed by James Brindley in 1769, was too long in 1829. Thomas Telford's dramatic engineering cut 7 miles of the route, greatly reduced the time it took to make the journey. But you can just imagine there would have been quarrelling, bittering down here to try and get premiums to come by passage by boat back in those days. And there was a story on the internet where the engineer Thomas Telford talked about a story about that, which is quite interesting. But panning right away around, you can just see the map, Brindley's line, you've got Telford's line right away there, and the Brindley line goes all the way to Kidderminster. There is some sections of the Brindley line in Kidderminster, so we'll go down there and show you that. And there's an old photo here of a very old-fashioned map telling you what the works was many years ago. So you would have Rolfe Bridge, metalworks, quite a few locks onto the corner. That was actually another section of canal what was on the other side, so is that the old line? Could be the old line onto there, but there was that canal what I've seen down that back, so I will do a bit more research tonight on that. I've never seen it before. But one more look at the photo, so you can just see the section what we're on in 1957 with all the old industry still peeking right away out onto there. Wow. So James Brindley and the old main line. When James Brindley surveyed the first canal here, the concept was very new and lock design was rather basic. To avoid the need for locks and earthworks as far as possible, he's meandering canal works with the landscape following the 473-foot contour line for much of his length. Brindley's canal was a great success, slashing the cost of coal by 70% and making Birmingham a centre of manufacturing. So one more look at the photos before I show you right away in front, and the horse towing the day boat right away across the canal. So there we go, this is actually the Birmingham Old Line from this section, stretching all the way down, and then it comes to an end to join the Birmingham New Line right away down there. We'll go and check out what's further on in a little bit. But that is really cool, so that leads right away up and it will go all the way down to, I can't think where it is, Summit Bridge, and all the way back down to Span Lane Junction, further right the way down. so it is a nice little route. Yeah, it was right, Sponlane Junction, 2.5 miles, 3 locks away. Wolverhampton, that is really far, what it says on there. I think it's, can't read it for me, but it does look like a big number. But the old photo, what you've seen behind me on that board, would have been this right away in front of that boat, towing the day boat right away across. All of his bridges were cast in the Horsey Ironworks in the 18th century, as well as this one and the one right away in front. So you just see, like I mentioned earlier, most of the bridges down the BCN main line are constructed at the Horsey Ironworks. You can imagine that factory's got quite a lot of history behind it. I mean, constructing all this right away down. So I'll tell you what, it's really cool seeing that, all them old photos, you know, it brings memories back to many of the locals, back to those days in the 1950s or just above that. Just imagine what it would have been like in the Black Country days down this canal line. Much of it has really changed today, quite a lot of it. And as you just see right away in front, it's just all been modernised by modern factories. All the old factories gone. Most of these walls on the left were from old factories many years ago, old foundries. Would have been some old foundries right away past this bridge, right away in front. So I will show you evidence of that now. I think there is old bridge remains down onto here. But it is really nice to see what was there many years ago, because imagine generations and generations of people in the past, maybe still some having memories of it. All them factories gone, lost forever. Most of our goods remain around the Black Country, but most of it's disappearing, like steelworks, iron foundries. It's all vanishing over many years. Like Round Oak Steelworks is one of the biggest ones of that vanished, and it's a shame to see most of that is actually gone today. It is a shame. So right here we are, this is the next bridge. This is actually Rabone Lane Bridge, right away down onto here. You can just see there is evidence of factories being here many years ago. Just gonna have a quick look. So that is actually French Wars Bridge right away there. I'm guessing this would have been where an old factory was here, maybe old foundries back in the past, because you can just see that is an old walkway bridge with a loading wharf, by the looks of it, bricked up, what went right away under. And checking the walls, what I'm on these corners, there's a very old wall, so there would have been a factory down there. There is actually a stack down here, so I will quickly go and show you the stack, which is right away down the bottom. So here we are, just right away in front is a stack for a factory. I'm guessing it's derelict, because there is like some really derelict remains down onto this corner. The very last time we ever passed it. Got a bricked up archway here, what would have led under to something. That is really good evidence of an old factory. There's the stack right away up to there. Really cool. So what was that? Was this actually a foundry of some kind? Could have been many years ago. And I was on about with somebody on the internet telling me about there was an old foundry because they want to come down to magnet fish it. And that is a really good spot because you get quite a lot of the old metal out the canal, what I fell in from loading boats. But down onto here, just checking all the way down, you got another short section to that bridge. And if I just look right away under, the canal would have gone into a loading wharf right away down there and into the factory. So there you go, so there's some evidence of some really old factories being down onto here on the canal line itself. So here we are, I've just stopped to give you a bit of a better view. This is really cool. It is abandoned, derelict. So I'm guessing this could have been the foundry what I was on about ages ago to somebody on the internet. There's a lot of moss and stuff growing right away at the top of there. All boarded windows or metal sheeted. All the old brickwork, which is right away at the back. That brickwork just looks so old. You can just tell a very old Black Country factory just left to rot. And all trees growing down the bottom onto it. But one more look at that stack, just right away there. How cool that is. Amazing. So here we are, check out the trees up to there. Those look really dark into there, the rooms, because there's no windows proper to it. So those are only short windows inside, all the big trees growing right away up. So you can just see some form of dereliction there. I don't think there's actually a way into it. I think it's just proper been left. I think it's all sealed up around the sides. I might go and have a look at it actually to see what it looks like from around that side. I've never gone to check it out, but so cool. I would love to see what's inside there. Imagine all the old foundry stuff inside that factory. We'll roll round, we'll check out what the corner, but I don't think you can get too close to it. I think it is actually all boarded up. But one more from the corner. As we come down, I'll just quickly show you. It's massive. I'm thinking, is this actually like some sort of new structure? Like down the bottom, there could have been like a new factory added onto the old factory. That is actually why they've actually kept it and not knocked it down, sort of. Alright, it's actually Avery Way, so it could be something to do with some like weighing scales, like what for the weigh bridges, what they put down on factories. It's quite interesting that, so there's a new factory built on top of the old factory. So by seeing of it, I don't think there's ever going to be a way to get inside there. You've got to look right away at the back where the other bits are, but it's a shame. I thought if this was all derelict, there might have been just a way just to walk on and have a look, but yeah, let's go and check out back down the canal and see what else is lurking down there. Oh wow, this is quite of a different bridge. It's like tunnel like going all the way through. This is actually the train bridge, which is right away at the top. And then from the corner you can just see there, you've got two sections where one boat comes one way, another one comes another way. But further down into it, there is more evidence of factories being here many years ago. And it's not all used anymore, this section of the canal down onto here, onto the right and the left. I think the grounds are just more abandoned sections to it. But it is a shame, all of these factories are completely lost. On the left there, you've got the train which runs all the way down the bottom, so that bit's used. But there is bricks, what I can see, just onto the side. So I'm guessing many years ago there was a factory there, just onto that side. And panning around, here's some more evidence of factories. You had the arch going right away through, so that could have led right away up into the factory itself. All the old brick walls. Coming further down, it would have had some loading sections what would have gone right away into it. You can just see right there, the barges would have gone into there to the factory. Just keep going straight away up. That is cool seeing that. So right, I think I was correct. So what is this even leading to? Our old factory in workings just here. You see all the steel sticking right away out. And this is what I really wanted to show you, this route on the canal, for a really good example of industry being along the canal line. Right away there is I don't know if it's actually a used basin, but there's a basin leading into something right away at the back. Got something huge over there, some big buildings, another one just right away there. So two loading wharves for the factory, and you would have had the factory what was on this side many years ago. So this could have been a very old factory, was knocked down in the 19th century maybe. Pretty cool. We'll go and check out what's even further down the bottom. And then you've got another one of these, so I'm guessing, could this have been another tarman's office right around there? It looks like there would have been evidence of a building being here. Could this have been another charging point for where they're weighing the loading by the boats? This is actually another gorging station, believe it or not. So right, this is actually a gorging plate, BCN 229. There's a very old example on our photo. Wow, so we've seen measuring the boat, the weigh by the load. That is so cool. Seeing the old man there. So what date is that? That'll be interesting. That's 19 something. And that one at the bottom, what I showed you earlier, sorry about the graffiti, is that one of those station? So you would have seen that further right down the bottom. So did you know the tolls could be cheaper for boats with heavy cargoes than those with light ones? Oh wow. So a bit more information down onto here. So the canal owners charge every boat for using their waterways. You can still see many of the toll booths along the canal today, like the Dudley No. 2 canal. I've got the tarman's office, which is still there today. A really good example of one of the charging points down on that canal section. So the amount charged depended on what the boat was carrying. Cheap basic cargoes like stone and coal cost a few pennies per tonne per mile, while more valuable items such as pottery, beer or cheese were charged more. It was easy for the toll keeper to see the type of cargo, but how to calculate the weight? The answer was the gorging system. Boats wishing to use the canal were emptied and brought to a gorging dock. A canal official then measures this with a freeboard distance between the top of the boat side and the water, at 4 points on the hull marked with small metal plates. So it does say here the gorging station crane unloaded the boat with heavier and heavier weights, while the canal official measured how much the freeboard reduced with each added ton. There's actually one of the old paperworks there, BCN. It's so cool to see that. I'm guessing that could be in the museum somewhere. But well, the old photos one more time, and also the gauging house right away there, what they've been on there many years ago. So that would have been on there, so you just see a big much of a change. Nice to still see they've kept the base of it just onto the corner, but that's actually where it was, right away in the middle. So right, that's exploring the Black Country, because we're coming to Birmingham now. I'm not going to go right into Birmingham. You've got the Soho Loop on the left, which goes all the way around, ventures round the side of Birmingham and goes somewhere. Some really interesting routes. I would love to see what's down them. Got the Winson Green section somewhere down there that goes past Winson Green Prison. But what a day, I've showed you pretty much some really interesting things across the old canal line itself, and seeing the old gauging stations which are right away down the bottom. Wow, very interesting. So in the meantime, from me, the Minton's outdoors. I will see you in another one soon, but I hope you've enjoyed this one, and smash that like button for this one, for me coming this far. What a day. Heading back home now. I've got a few miles to do, but I'll take some photos on the way back. See you soon, and take care. I'll leave the Midlands Outdoors out.